It'll be much to your disliking.
All right, I'm ready here. Tribe.
It's a big stinky mess right now.
Tribe Called Quest. Let's do it.
All right.
Push the goddamn button.
Fakakta Comedy Funhouse Network. Welcome, all my friends. Welcome to Couch Pilots. I love that theme song. I think we really did it right there. Welcome to the show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. My name is Jason, a.k.a. the Bottle Cap Kid. And with me, as always, is my good buddy, the podcasting god himself, Blake Clayton. Hello, Blake.
Hello. How are you, sir?
Good. Doesn't that... You hear that Wings intro music?
Oh.
It just like, it's so soothing.
Yeah,
it's so calming.
Because it's always nerve-wracking. We have all this stuff going on. We have papers everywhere. We have all these electronics going. We have levels. But once you hear that, it's like I see spikes in them, and I don't care.
Spikes in the sound waves of your boards?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me.
All the computers.
Because I know that we're about to do an episode of Couch Pilots, and nothing I would rather do more.
When you get aboard Sandpiper Air, Joe Hackett's going to make sure that you have a smooth flight. And I've never been on a Sandpiper flight. Maybe he does pump in some nice smooth jazz and keep you nice and calm while you're in the air. Because flying a small jet like that, a small commuter jet,
it's not really a jet. That's just kind of
or whatever it is,
a propeller plane.
Yeah, he probably gets pretty bumpy sometimes.
Yeah,
but not with Joe Hackett, and not with that music.
Right. I wish I had Joe Hackett as a life coach.
That's a badass name, isn't it? Well, what would you take away from Joe Hackett as a life coach? What do you need help with, and what do you think he could help you with?
I think he has a level. He gets super excited. I mean, he does have freak out, but in the end, he's going to make right decisions, and that's what I need in my life. I need someone to help me make right decisions. And like you were trying to do earlier this evening, you were trying to help me and my wife make
your wife
make better
your own wife make
better decisions.
Which decision was this? We were talking earlier about
the bed.
About how you create a little a pillow fort for yourself,
and supposedly it keeps me from having sex.
She said that you put all these blankets on yourself to keep yourself warm, and then halfway through the night you get too warm, and then you dump all the blankets onto her.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's basically what happened.
And what was my suggestion?
For me to make the bed, For me to make the bed, I'm sorry, to make the bed, I really do.
I would like, if possible. I know you guys wake up at different times, but I would like you guys to make the bed together. So it could be a couple activity. And then if you eliminate the amount of pillows and blankets on the bed and make a nice, clean bed, then your interactions on the bed could be more precise and to the point, and you wouldn't have a lot of extra bed amenities laying around.
But I think she's using that as an excuse. I don't think the barriers that I have would keep her from really wanting to have sex with me.
So you think if she really wanted coitus with you bad enough, she would break her way through all of your pillows and your...
Maybe I'm playing hard to get. Maybe I want to. Maybe I'm testing her lust for me.
I see. How's that going? She passed the test.
She turns around, sees there's a wall, and says, "Eh."
And with that,
sex with Blake and Jason.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
Speaking of the sexual devil, there she is, Molly Clayton herself. What a
best stewardess I know.
For sure, and perhaps the only one. So that can mean only one thing.
What can it mean?
It means it's time to board the plane.
Yes,
as we're apt to do.
I have my satchel. Yep. I'm ready to go.
You got your personal belongings, all your toiletries separated by Ziploc bags.
I'm ready to go to that next city and spend the night and not have any cares in the world.
Throw your inhibitions to the wind.
Yep.
This is the part of the show where we talk about what this show is even about. Maybe it's your first time listening. You say, "What is this nonsense? Who are these idiots talking about pillow forts and coital tests?" I'll tell you what we're doing here. Blake and I are watching old television pilots from the past. These are the first episodes from TV programs that just didn't have what it takes to go the distance. And people spend a lot of time and money on creating these terrible shows, and when they don't get picked up, they're just tossed out. And as I mentioned previously in other shows, Blake and we're the boob tube hyenas. We come in and we pick up the scraps that Hollywood has tossed to the curb. We watch them, we talk about them, and then we give you info on where to find them for yourselves, so you can jump in on the fun with us.
It's kind of like girls we've dated.
If
you read that over again and just substitute show with girls.
Blake and I are dating odd women from the past. It's like we're time traveling daters. These are girls that just didn't have what it takes to go the distance. Other guys spent a lot of time and money with these women, but they just didn't get picked up. These ladies just get tossed out. And we're the used broad hyenas. We come in and we pick up the scraps that these guys just throw to the curb. We watch them and talk about them. We talk about them to their face. We talk about these girls to their face. And then we give you info on where to find these girls for yourself so you can jump on the fun.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's a good detour. Also, during this section, we talk about what show we're watching and why we chose it.
Yeah.
This week we're watching 1974's The Tribe. A lot of these first run movies or these shows, they're TV movies, like ABC movies of the week from the 70s, and they were meant to act as pilots. They're basically, which is smart, honestly, because I don't as much as we talk about Hollywood creating all these different pilots and then they don't work and they just toss them out. ABC was like, let's create this crap. We'll throw it on TV and see if it sticks, which is a good idea. And they'll throw it under the guise of TV movie of the week.
Right.
So I think that's a good way.
Because either way, they're not going to lose. Either way, they're going to win. They're going to get some kind of content.
Yeah. And I tell you what, when I look into these things, all the different comments people have out there is like, I remember this as a child. I wish I could see it again. So whatever it is having, even if it's the most slightest impact, is people still remember these things.
Right. Because, NBC, ABC, those main ones, the beginning, they had the Sunday night movie or whatever, the Thursday night movie. They don't do that as much now because they have Lifetime or they have all these these specific channels that create all these movies, like the Hallmark Channel or something.
Everything is so niche,
right?
Or niche.
So the major networks don't have these anymore. They don't have these things to use anymore.
It's a real gamble. The broadcast television is crumbling. And again, we're just here to pick up those little pieces. Yep. Like David Hasselhoff picked up a piece of the Berlin Wall as it was coming down. We too will pick up a piece of what's left over by, and we'll re-erect it, so to speak.
Let's erect it.
But why did we choose this one? I'll tell you why. I'm starting to believe it's because we reverse engineered this podcast. And once the idea of what we were going to do was in place, we had to find all the shows, and that is proving much tougher than anticipated. So we were watching this specific show because it was, an emphasis on was, available to be watched. Now we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy.
Yeah, and the next part here that I have down is, where can you find the show to watch it for yourself? And let me just tell you what I had before, and then this is where things get off course a little bit. You can check out The Tribe, like so many of the other programs we review, on YouTube. Simply search The Tribe space 1974, and you too can live the highs and lows of 70s broadcast television. That's not true anymore.
Nope.
That statement I just made, not true.
It's luckily one of us did our homework.
Yep.
At the right amount of time. Because otherwise this episode would just be us talking about beds and forts.
Which is not bad. That's a different podcast. We should have
the fort bed.
Sure, we'll call it Fortnite. So if someone hears that, we're really not going to do it. You can use that name.
Hey, but if you want to hear that, just go click on the donate button at fcfnetwork.com and I'll make it happen.
Tell us what you want. We're here for you. You could have Matt Fort on your show.
Matt Forte from the Bears.
From the Bears, and Will Fort from SNL. All these guys we could have on the show, and we could build forts with them and like do the interview from inside the fort.
Do you remember you used to take blankets and stuff and make forts? Yeah.
I still do that with my daughter, and I find it very effective to like take part of the blanket and like close it in a dresser drawer or in a desk drawer that really holds it in place.
We used to put like a corner of it on top of the dresser, like we had a TV on there, and we would put that on top of the TV. It was so dangerous; it would just slide right off if we really.
That TV would just kill one of your cousins. But like I said, the show was available. I look into a lot of this stuff. I do a lot of the research and digging up for the show, and I will send Blake the links. It's like, hey, this is the show we're going to watch next. Here's the link. Click on it, watch it, enjoy it. And I'm a bit of a procrastinator. I wait late. And also, for this show, I do want to watch it late because I want to be fresh in my mind. I want to come here, with all these shows and all the different horribleness of the actors and the situation to be fresh in my mind so we can talk about it. So I waited until today to watch The Tribe, and I could not watch The Tribe.
It's been taken off of YouTube.
It has.
And like we were talking about before, it's like, how come now? Like after we've been talking about doing this for a week and a half, now all of a sudden it's not on there.
It really has not been more than 2 weeks when I discovered The Tribe, and kind of I think on our very last episode we put the trailer for The Tribe, which oddly enough is still out there. You can still find the trailer for it, and we said, hey, you know what? If you want to join us next time, check out this trailer. Check out the link to the full episode, which is still probably on our page and everything. Right. Blake, you did that. You checked out The Tribe. You watched it in its entirety, like an hour and a half?
Yeah.
Yeah, bummer for you.
If you go to it right now, it says this video is no longer available because the YouTube account associated with this video has been terminated. So there's obviously
controversy.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what that means.
It's my British grandmother would say that instead of controversy. I think that this show, still well into its infancy, is having a cultural impact on these United States of America.
You know, when we first brought it up, hey, this is a show we're going to do, people were like, that's kind of cute. No. We're changing the face of YouTube.
Yep. Oh, that's adorable. You guys are watching shows together with you holding hands, having popcorn, jerking each other off. No. I mean, well, yes. First of all, yes, that's exactly what we're doing. But you know what? Resonance, my friend.
I've watched every one of these. I've watched every one of these movies in bed.
Yeah.
So that's close to jacking off.
That's where I do it. That's where I do all my JOs. Look,
sorry, Grandma.
It's no longer available.
Nope.
I think we clicked it enough between the two, you and I, and we put it out there for our listeners to check out. And guess what? Between all that, we've put a spotlight back on The Tribe from 1974, and someone out there said, you know what?
No, we're not bringing it back.
Not on my watch. You're not going to watch it. I don't know why this is getting so many clicks all of a sudden, but we're taking it off the interwebs. But the joke's on you. Joke's on you, whoever did that, because Blake saw it. He's got a bunch of notes on it. So basically, it's going to be, instead of both of us talking about it, it's going to be Blake talking about it.
But you're gonna have to lead me because you're the pilot, so you're gonna have to lead me where to go.
And that'll be fine. I will do that, and I'm gonna just kind of sit back in like one of our listeners' positions and say, hey, you know what? I haven't watched it yet. Well, some of our listeners watched it. Well, some of our whiskers have already watched it. Where would you, if you had a bunch of whiskers, where would you put them? You think?
In a basket.
Yeah, that's where I'd put them. So check out ibwip.com. I will be putting myself in the seat of the listener today who has not yet watched The Tribe, and if you haven't yet, you probably never will because it's not available for you anymore.
So that's why when we send out the show notes from the episode before, it shows which one we're going to watch. You got to watch it then.
You got to watch it post haste because this show is having, like I said, it's a cultural renaissance of these old shows. We're putting the spotlight on these old programs that people were just thrown to the curb, and what's old is new again. And people are saying, you know what, there's money here, so let's yank this. Let's yank this so you guys can't watch it. And if you do watch it, you got to pay for it. I did find it out there. It's like $25 for like a VHS copy that some weirdo probably in his basement's got.
Right, he's just making copies of it.
Right, and I'm not gonna pay that.
No, because you have me.
That's right. We have you. You've seen it. We're going to start asking you some questions. And you know what? I think we're going to start doing that right about now.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
This is where we take off.
Let's take off.
Directly into the sky. Oops, we will now play another sound effect. I always forget that one.
That's the most important one.
This is the actual sound of a plane taking off.
The plane that we're in.
This is the sound of our own plane that we are in.
We got a mobile podcast.
And thank God it's just the two of us in this plane because the passengers are really in a lot of trouble when the co-pilots are sitting recording, talking about old TV shows, and not focusing on the plane at hand.
Yeah, the planes fly themselves nowadays.
They do practically. When's Google going to come up with a self-drive, like an autonomous plane?
Virgin will be the first one to do.
They really will. God bless Sir Richard Branson. So takeoff, the summary of the pilot, interesting facts. Not a lot out there about this.
Really?
Because as soon as I found that I couldn't watch it on YouTube, I really started digging in even deeper than I did originally, saying, hey, what else is out there? Where can I watch it? The only thing I found is there's two little summaries I'm going to read. In the last ice age, a family of Cro-Magnons battle a tribe of primitive Neanderthals for survival.
Yep.
And okay, so you agree that's what it was about. This was the most distinctive TV movie set in caveman days as a tribe of Cro-Magnons fight starvation and the viciously primitive Neanderthals at the dawn of history 100,000 years ago. So, to me, that's enough to say I will never watch that.
Yeah, and you don't need to. To be honest with you, we are changing the face of YouTube, but we're also helping a lot of people.
Maybe we're cleaning up YouTube.
We're cleaning up YouTube because so we're going through the plot, basically, right? So the plot is there's a group of Cro-Magnon men and women and kids that are just walking. They're just walking. They're not walking in the woods.
Interesting.
It's kind of the desert, and they're just walking, and they're walking. They're all dirty, and mysteriously, they all speak English.
That's the one thing I thought going into, like, how is, like, I knew they had to speak English. They would have to.
Sure.
And back then, it was just a bunch of grunts and, like, you know, probably
hand gestures. And
sure.
stuff.
And maybe something even closer to what we understand as Arabic, since that's kind of like the birthplace of culture is in the Middle East. But I was like, how are they going to pull this off? How are they going to have a whole show and not speak English and completely take me out of it?
So I'm going to give you the round out of the main characters.
Please.
Okay, there's Mattis, and he's the leader.
Okay.
Played by Victor French.
All right.
You would know Victor French from A Little House on the Prairie and also Highway to Heaven. The guy with the beard.
But not Michael Landon.
No, not Michael Landon.
But he was on Highway to Heaven and Little House on the Prairie,
These guys were buddies.
Was Michael Landon in this?
No, it was Victor French.
But I didn't know if they did everything together.
No, not everything.
Or maybe that was his...
it's not Abbott and Costello. And he's the leader, and his wife's name is Jen, because that's a very Cro-Magnon name. And she's the fire keeper. She's the person in charge of making the fires.
Is she the only one who knows how to make fire?
Allegedly, because that's her job. Because basically, there's maybe like 7 of them. No, there's about 12. Let's just say there's 12 of them, and they all have the specific jobs to maintain their existence.
Yeah.
This power couple, I like to call.
Yeah, for real.
Ivana and Donald. They have 2 kids. One is a girl, and she's a gatherer, and her name is Artis.
Mm-hmm.
And then the son, he's the scout. He goes up ahead, and then comes back and tells them what's going on, and then goes up ahead. And his name was Perrin.
Perrin.
And 2 other key people to know is Gatto.
In the ghetto.
Gatto is the one that causes the problem.
Oh, boy.
And I don't want to give it away yet. And then Goran, he takes over for Mattis, and he ends up dying at the end.
Oh, hey, first of all, great names.
Thanks.
Across the board. Great, whoever made it, and for you, great names. If you were a Cro-Magnon, what would your name be?
My name?
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a good one. I was gonna be,
yeah.
I was gonna be or maybe Gary. I can't. I was sleeping on that one.
Yeah, I like Abadeh. Abadeh.
It's not bad. Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. So the premise of the show is basically, it shows them hunting and surviving.
Yeah.
There's a lot of just desolate and just a lot of tin whistles. There's like a lot of tin whistle, tin flute playing.
An hour and a half.
There's some conversations, very minimal dialect. It's not obviously because they don't speak English in the first place, but it's not very in depth.
Right.
The premise of this movie is so they need to eat. They need to find food.
As we all do.
What they do is they move and they keep going until they find food. Once they get some food, they set up camp until they run out of food. Then they start walking again.
So they're nomadic in nature.
Yeah, they're
the original gypsies.
Right. And so they step up. They find some wild boars.
Oh, okay.
And Scout comes back and says, "Wild boars, boars!" So all the men instantly take off all their furs and all their weapons, and they get the weapons together and they go hunting. They're going to go catch up with these boars. So he's like, Mattis is like, "Hey, firekeeper, start a fire. Let's get this camp going. Everybody start gathering sticks and leaves and berries. We're going to bring back some meat."
Now, what was the intent of fire at the time? To me, I would say it's like Not only a way to keep warm, but a weapon. Were they using it to cook things?
They used it to cook things, and they used it to keep warm.
And at this point, how many minutes are we into the movie, would you say?
About 20.
20 minutes of just tin whistles, learning the names of the characters, and scouting.
Right.
Okay.
So then they go after these boars. And so there's like 4 of them. And Gatto is the one. He's the newest of the hunters.
Okay.
So they have their spears. They're figuring out how they're going to surround these boars, right? And they start to maneuver, and all you hear is these squealing boars for like 5 minutes. It's obnoxious.
For 5 minutes.
Oh, it's horrible.
Oh, my God.
It's
like they're killing them and like slaughtering
but
them?
they haven't even caught him yet. They haven't even caught him. That's just the noise they're making because they're freaked
boy.
out. So in their quest to corner these boars so they can kill them, all of a sudden Mattis is face to face with a mammoth.
A woolly mammoth.
It's not woolly. It's just mammoth. It's just
A bare naked mammoth.
it's an elephant with tusks.
So an elephant? That's what an elephant is, right? Elephants have tusks.
Okay, so they're like, oh shit, because they have these pussy spears, which is not going to kill an elephant.
Right.
So they decided they're going to try to coax this elephant / mammoth.
But so it is a mammoth.
I think it's a mammoth. It's a huge elephant with tusks.
But is it okay? Is this like a creature effect, or is it a real animal that they use? Do you think?
It's a creature effect. It was not real. There's no way it could have been real.
Okay.
Because it never showed it like full. It just showed like parts of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But their object is they're gonna coax it to fall over the side of this cliff.
Good plan.
I guess. So in the midst of doing that, Gatto throws a spear at it. Spear hits Mattis.
Oh no!
Who is the leader?
No.
Yep. And they pull it out. He's bleeding. He says, "My legs have died."
Yeah.
And Goran comes in. He's like, "Oh, So they put a stone on where he's, they apply pressure because
Sure.
they bleed. But he's already like, my feet are dead.
That's
my
it.
feet have died. Leave me here. Go take the boars that we got. Take them back and leave me. Leave the man behind. And he's like, you know what? You know what our rule is if man down, leave him behind.
Got to keep moving.
And they're like, no, we can't do that because you're the leader. He's like, no, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So rather than go, they get him back to camp.
So they make the effort. How do they do it? Did
They
sling him
lift
over his shoulder?
They sling him over the shoulder. 2 guys have dead boars, and 1 guy's got this big, huge fucking guy.
Those boars can get pretty big.
Oh, fuck yeah. And they have him on a stick.
Oh, like
Dangling from
they
a stick.
tied the legs together
Yeah.
and put the stick under there? Classic.
So they get him back. Of course, Jen is all upset because her husband's,
His legs are dead.
his legs are dead. But by the time he's back there, guess what?
He's completely healed and stronger than ever.
No. His chest and stomach have died.
Oh no, that can't be
And
good.
it's only a matter of time.
Before what?
He's
Before he's better?
Before his head's dead.
Before he
Deadhead.
starts
Before-
listening to Grateful Dead.
Yeah, exactly. So they spend the night. They eat all the food for a couple days. He's still alive. He's like, you guys got to go. We're out of food now. You got to go. Goran's in charge.
Yeah.
Jen, you're going to,
Get with Goran now, right?
Well, that's one of the things.
To the victor, right?
Yeah. I for some reason. And so they take off. They leave.
What, just everybody?
Everybody.
And so it's just Deadhead laying around?
He's just laying there.
It's another hour of just that? Oh, no. No,
It was about 20 minutes, about 10 to 15 minutes of him, because guess what happens? When he's there by himself with his legs dead and his chest dead, then guess what happens?
A woolly mammoth pushes him off a cliff.
2 Black Panthers
Oh, boy.
attack him.
He gets eaten up?
Nope.
No.
He slings the spear at one, kills it, and coaxes the other one to come up and hits it over the head with a bone. With a big, huge bone. And so then, all of a sudden, guess what? He's healed.
What?
He's healed. In the midst of fighting that second panther,
Yeah.
Not the Black Panthers, but it was an actual Black Panther.
The movement from the 1960s,
Right.
the Black Panthers. No, I'm with you.
He gets up, realizes, oh my God, I'm healed. Says, shit, I better go catch up with the tribe.
Well, 4 or 5 years ago, when Charlie Sheen was going through his madness before his current HIV predicament, when he was kind of making his exit from 2.5 Men, he was talking a lot about tiger blood. You know what I mean? And here, essentially, we could be talking about panther blood, Black Panther blood. Do you think there was some healing to the Black Panther blood?
No, I think they just needed to carry on this story.
Okay.
Because Goran was. Now here's the thing, they've been walking for a day.
Yeah.
Ahead of Mattis,
Yep.
A day and a night or so. They get to this hill. Goran starts hitting on the daughter.
Yeah, he does.
Artist.
The Gatherer.
Yeah. And he's like, hey, why don't you be my woman?
Why don't you gather some of these nuts?
But and Artist is talking to Jen, and he's like, hey, she's like, I see you. Do you not miss Mattis? And she's like, I miss him. I think about him all the time. But I also think about Goran. So I couldn't tell if Jen was wanting to hook up with Goran or if the daughter was supposed to hook up with him.
This is like one of those porn sites where a guy's like hooking
It
up
started
with
to get kind of weird. It started to get kind of weird there. He catches up with them.
Yeah.
And realizes, hey, there's some the daughter.
Yeah.
Daughter's walking along the creek by herself.
Sure.
Gathering.
That's
what she does. Then some of these weird looking, like
Neanderthals. The big foreheads.
Yeah,
hairy bodies.
They don't talk. They don't say
English.
No English.
They speak Spanish. No English.
So she runs back. All of a sudden, Gordon's like, "Oh shit!" Because they came in. He was in a tribe before,
okay,
and they came and killed them all.
Oh, he's the last.
He was
surviving member of the previous tribe,
right? So he's like, "I know what's going to happen. This happens. They get the women and children, and blah blah blah." Mattis comes up. Everybody's like, "Oh!" They hug him. They're like, "Yay! Cool, man. You're back." He's like, Gordon's like, "Hey, we got the gonads coming,
and I've been banging your daughter."
Right. I soiled your daughter's oats,
her loins,
and he's like, "You got a plan?" And Gordon's like, "Yeah, this is my plan." He goes, "Nope, that's not a good plan." Next thing you know, hey Jen, start a fire.
Yeah.
Why would you start a fire? Because that would attract them.
Yeah. What is that smoke over there? What's that bright light?
Right. If I see fire, I know there's people there.
That's right.
What are they called?
Neanderthals.
The Neanderthals see the fire. Ooh. They all go. Don't I feel it? Anyway, they come, but there's no people. Where is the tribe?
Whoa, this is early warfare, is what this is.
Exactly, because next thing you know, all the Neanderthals are standing around this fire, going, Where is everybody?" One of the daughter.
Yeah.
She comes out from behind a rock and goes, "Oh," and starts scattering up the rock.
Yeah.
They see her. They all go after her. Guess what? The whole tribe stands up from behind a bunch of boulders and starts whipping fucking boulders at them.
No.
Whipping styrofoam boulders.
They whipping the nay boulders all over these guys?
They whip, then they nay. They whip, and then they nay.
That'd be great if they just pushed the mammoth off the cliff and just smashed all of them. I would think that's great.
That was, yeah. So, they're pushing them back.
Okay, so they're not necessarily killing them, but they're hurting them and they're pushing them away.
Right. They kill one of them. Oh. They kill a couple of them. But then Goran goes down there, is going to hit one over the head with a bone. Goes to hit him, gets hit from behind, hits his head on a rock. He's dead.
By who?
One of the Neanderthals.
So Goran, the guy who kind of saved him there at the end, right? He can't.
Well, no, because that wasn't his plan. He had a different plan. Mattis.
Oh, that was Mattis's
plan. So, they scare him away.
Yeah.
That's the end of the movie. Spoiler alert.
This movie sucks. Probably not suitable for 1970s television broadcast television, rather. I'm eating those Neanderthals. I'm eating Goran. If I am trying to survive day to day by hunting and gathering and maybe stabbing some boars, I'm eating those guys.
Yeah, Goran even said, "Hey, they come and they kill everybody and then they eat them."
Oh,
He's like, they will eat. He goes, boars or birds or people, they will do what it takes to eat.
As would I.
Yeah, fuck yeah!
I'd eat a Neanderthal. Guess what? We're all just meat. We're all just meat, folks. Whoever's listening at home, you're just a bag of meat. You're rotting every day, and goddamn it, the first chance I get, I'd eat you.
If this plane goes down and crashes,
one of us survives.
Me and Jason are gonna. Oh, we're the only two on here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Who do you think out of the two of us? Who do you think would survive the longest?
Well, I catch a cold very quickly. So
yeah, and I'm feeble. Yeah. I don't have a lot of strength.
Oh boy, so really, it looks bad for both of us. Well, I tell you what,
one of us has to survive. Which part of me would you eat first?
Well, if it's in a cold environment, like if it were like in the movie Alive, what I'd probably do is I'd probably cut you from sternum to sack, nut sack, and then I'd scoop all your innards out, and then pack them with mud to keep them fresh, and then I would eat them as necessary, and then I'd wear your skin as a coat to keep me warm. How about you? What part of me would you eat first?
I would cut your head off.
Yeah.
And then just like work my way down. Just like muscle. I would just take the fattiest parts because you're not a heavy man. Like me, I would think that you would just eat my belly first because it's just a big thing of fat. Right? And then my butt.
I don't know what happened here. There's a weird dynamic. Years ago, you used to call me fat to my face. And now, now I'm not saying I'm a trim man by any means. But I
hit my midlife crisis, and now I'm fat.
Okay. Well, enjoy your midlife crisis. And you know what? Enjoy this promo for the FCF Network. And think about eating. Whoever you're sitting by, if you're in the vicinity of a loved one, while you're listening to this promo, think about eating them.
What would you eat first?
Do you like craft beer? Do you like music? If you don't like either of those, I hope you at least like laughing. And if I've still got your attention, the reason I'm asking is this. I want you to check out my upcoming podcast called Drunken Lullabies. I'm joined by my co-host Blake Szymanski and a rotating cast of characters. We do beer reviews, play music by bands we think you need to know, make you laugh a lot, and hopefully get you tipsy right along with us. We'll be bringing you a new episode every Sunday, and we hope you'll close your weekends out with us at Drunken Lullabies. We'll educate you on new beers to try, new albums to hear, and make you laugh at nonstop pop culture references and juvenile behavior, which is what you've come to expect from the Fakakta Comedy Funhouse. Look us up at fcfnetwork.com. We'll see you on the Sabbath. Cheers.
I think another thing we need to take from this show is that if one of us goes down, the other one should continue. Like if you die, I'm going to still do the show.
That's fine.
I'm going to keep doing the show. If I die, you can't keep doing the show.
Why?
Unless you marry Molly, and then you.
So I just won't do the show then.
Well, because you don't have the equipment. Do you think she would give it to you?
Do you think the equipment?
Yeah. Her equipment.
You know what I see when I see Molly in your studio, quote unquote. And I think it's just a never-ending eye roll. I think first of all, I think she's going to get vertigo, rolling her eyes constantly. Second of all, I think your body would still be warm, and she'd be saying, "Get this goddamn equipment out of my house."
Right.
So absolutely, the equipment will go to me. Someone else who could potentially get the equipment is our good buddy Dustin from Drunken Lullabies. We just heard their promo. And I think the second episode just came out maybe a few weeks ago by the time this episode drops. But I was lucky enough to be on the first two episodes. I think I'm going to be on again in a couple weeks. I'm very excited. Very cool show. Blake Szymanski is a good friend of mine. I hooked him up with the voice.
He was on IBWIP for the first time on our two Christmas holiday episodes for IBWIP.
Joined us. IWIP. Blake Szymanski, very funny, very knowledgeable. Both those guys knowledgeable, and a lot of fun on that podcast. Mm-hmm. So play a drinking game along with them. If you like craft beers, they're experts. They know a lot. They go visit these breweries.
But they're not shitty about it. They're not like dickheads.
No, they're not like douchebags.
Like us.
Yeah, we're a couple of douchebags. We should put that as part of our... If you like douchebaggery, check out Couch Pilots. You're going to like it. And I tell you what, there's a lot not to like about this show. We're going to hear about that right now.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
A zone of turbulence. What a great way to describe the bumpy patches that eventually led to the cancellation of our current show, The Tribe.
Right. There's so many. This is what we're talking. This is when we talk about
Why the show didn't work.
Okay, it didn't work because it was about cavemen. That's why it didn't work.
You told me in probably about 10 minutes or less the complete summary of the show, and if those 10 minutes or less happened in real time of that program, I would be satisfied. But that stretched over 90 minutes for you.
Oh yeah, it ended up being 2 days because I watched about 40 minutes of it, and then I was like, I'm going to fall asleep.
Can I take that shit?
Paused it the next morning before anybody got up.
Yeah.
I watched the rest of it, and to be honest with you, if there would have been more interaction and more dialogue and more stuff going on, they could have gotten. They had plenty of time to delve more into the relationships. It would have been more interesting. But all it is okay, we're walking, and like they would show footage of these 12 people walking for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's no good.
And then, you know what I mean? Like the most action in the whole show was the last 3 minutes of the show. And this is becoming a pattern we're going to make a made-for-TV movie. We want it to become a series. We're just going to drag this out for 60 minutes. In the last 3 minutes, we're going to make it exciting.
I cannot imagine. To me, if you're going to have very little dialogue, which would make sense for Neanderthals or Cro-Magnons, the early man, to have very little dialogue, you got to have some action. You got if you're just grunting out half sentences to each other to communicate in general, there better be some action to back that up. Otherwise, it's just going to be the doldrums all the way through.
Even the fights or the hunting scenes were slow. You know what I mean? Like I don't need to listen to these boars squeal like pigs.
Yeah.
It's funny, and it just nothing. They were just walking around it. They were just like stalking him. Like you can show stalking in a different way, and it can be faster. Like what I mean, First Blood, they stalked the guy, right?
I never saw it.
Okay, well, a guy gets stalked. It's a lot faster, a lot more interesting. This is just, and it's just wide open. Just it's if it was been in the woods, it would have been better.
Yeah. Because from
how
what I
did
saw,
how did she make the fire? She's the
know.
firekeeper, right?
Right.
It
never showed her make the fire.
How did Cro-Magnon man or woman named Jen make the fire?
They call her that, and you think that even if they're going to show people walking for 10 minutes, show someone make some fire. Just show them make fire.
Yeah. Or
how hard's that?
While they're walking, have them interact with each other. Show the dynamic of a tribe in that time of how the what do you call it?
Progression of the characters, development,
The
interaction.
structure of the group. The leader.
Sure.
And how their roles were. Show that. The kids. The son he was like, I'm ready to be a hunter, and his dad's like, no, not yet. Just go walk 100,000 yards.
How old do you think that kid would be?
15?
That kid he's 3 years away from death at that point.
Well,
he better be a hunter at age 6.
His grandpa was in there.
Come on.
This
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now they're wandering through like desolate landscapes too. Like when we talked about the birth of man being in the Arab countries, do you feel like that's where it was supposed to take place, kind of in these just desolate desert regions?
I think it was made in California. The film was made in California. They found some desert, but not that still had enough like rocks and you know what I mean. It's just, but it wasn't.
There's not enough there to sustain. Not even a 90-minute movie, let alone an entire series.
No.
What would you do to improve it?
What would I do in improvement? Do you know who Ringo Starr is?
Do I? I do an impression of him.
Oh, do it for it. Say, hi, welcome to the show, Ringo.
Well, thank you very much.
You had a movie called Caveman.
I did, didn't I?
And it was a comedy.
It was pretty funny stuff.
Yeah, and remember your Lana, ooh.
I love that. I wrote that myself.
Right. That movie had a comedic view of Cro-Magnon man. Make this into a comedy.
A half-hour comedy, right?
I would have taken an hour of comedy.
That's tough. A lot of comedies you see on television are half-hour.
But
they tried it recently, a couple of years ago, like Nick Kroll. Now kind of gaining a lot of momentum between the Kroll Show and some of the movies he's done, like The League and stuff. He was originally one of the Cavemen. Did you know that? You remember the Geico Caveman?
Yeah.
He was on the show, and I think it only lasted maybe a half season.
Right.
But they tried.
Right.
They tried recently a Neanderthal comedy.
But I think making a Neanderthal drama is it. And there was so
yeah.
what are you going to do? Just are you going to continue to follow this tribe, and are they going to be the ones that invent the wheel? I mean,
Right. The evolution takes thousands and thousands.
And I don't
of
have that
years.
much time.
No, so if you saw it survive, you'd like to see it become more of a comedy.
I think it wouldn't. I can't see it surviving unless it's a comedy. And if it is going to be a drama, get into the dynamics of the family. The father and the Mattis's father was there. Like, where did that throne from the father, who now just uses bones to make sharp tools?
At what age do you pass the torch to the next generation as a leader?
Use that historic, how that happened.
Yeah.
And explain it how the son is going to. You're grooming the son to be. Like Dale Earnhardt.
You're right.
All
Perfect
right.
example.
Groom your son to fucking drive into a wall and die because I can't stand him.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Do you think that Dale Earnhardt was trying to teach his son how to drive into a wall?
I wanted him to.
Oh, okay.
Why didn't he?
Would you watch a TV show based on that?
Huh?
Would you watch a TV show?
Yes, I
based
would.
on that?
I just watch a replay of Dale Jr. hitting the wall every time. Here's another thing. I wanted to figure out if the daughter or the mom was going to be the one hooking up with Gordon, but he dies. But still, like that could have been an episode of which one is he. Now that he's the leader, which one is he taking? Which one is he? Does he want the young piece of tight meat, or does he want the loosey goosey, big haired, dirty woman? She was pretty. The mom was pretty, but she was dirty, and her hair was huge. I'm thinking to myself, if your hair is that huge,
To me, you go tight meat every time.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. No, you never have to apologize to me for saying tight meat.
So the animal count is 3 boars, a mammoth, 2 panthers.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
You break it, you buy it.
Maybe I did break it. Well, we'll see if I can fix that. But the next part basically is called Final Descent, and that's where we talk about critics' reviews of the show. And it's a lot about actually, there's a guy I keep seeing his name come up over and over. His name is Dave Sindelar, and I think he watched a lot of these old movies and reviewed them. So when we're looking at critics' reviews, it's basically this guy I look to almost over and over again because he's always got a review out there. So let's go ahead and play that Final Descent now that we've got the technical difficulties here figured out.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
Did it again?
We got it. We're good.
Okay.
Dave Sindelar, thank you very much for your review. It says, whenever I watch a TV movie anymore, the question is always gnawing at the back of my mind is, was this intended as a pilot for a TV series? If IMDb is correct, that's exactly what this was. To be perfectly honest, I don't think the idea of a TV series bent on following the exploits of a tribe of Cro-Magnons is inherently workable. It would, however, require some real creative strategies to make it work. Under the circumstances, it was probably wise that the makers of this once jettisoned the idea of trying to give the tribe its own language and just let them speak English. Now, I mean, you don't want to read the whole time. You know, if you're doing a French Revolution movie, I will read English at the bottom if they're speaking French. Let's try to keep in it. But if you're talking about Cro-Magnons, who knows what they spoke? Yeah. Who cares? I guess he's right. Make them speak English.
Gary,
start the fire. Jen, boil the meat. Still, one of the pitfalls here is they can't give them much in the way of interesting dialogue, and they felt compelled to keep the dialogue to a minimum. Unfortunately, they failed to take the next logical step, which was to realize that the story would have to rely on action to hold the attention, and that is just what this movie lacked. Instead, we have endless scenes of Cro-Magnons walking around, and that's simply not interesting. No wonder the TV series didn't sell. The movie pilot was an utter bore, and though it's nice...
let's rewrite it as a comedy. Let's do it.
Yeah, no kidding. I would not recommend anyone else go through the effort to watch it. Someone on IMDb gave it 7 out of 10 stars. Bleak, somber depiction of nomadic life in early Cro-Magnon man. I don't understand why he 6 out of 10. Those seem very high. Seems very high, doesn't it?
That's for like history guys, like history professors use
Yeah.
it. They're using it in their class.
To put people asleep?
Well, to show the dreary. I mean, I understand you want it to be basic. You don't want a bunch of special effects, but you got to keep it going. You got to keep it moving.
I think there are documentaries out there where like still today there exist little pockets of the jungle where people are completely native. They have no concept of electricity or modern life. When like National Geographic goes in there, they're not necessarily trying to create drama like this show probably was. National Geographic doing a documentary on a group like that is far more interesting. I haven't seen this, but it was terrible to listen to.
It was horrible.
Rotten Tomatoes, there's no score there. IMDb is giving it a 5.4
out of 10.
Out of 10.
Jesus,
that seems high. And you know
Sorry,
what?
Jesus. I mean, dang it. I'm trying. That's one of my New Year's resolutions.
To stop saying Jesus.
Yeah, and stop saying Jesus Christ.
What are you going to say instead?
Dang it.
Darn it.
Gosh darn it.
I like saying criminy.
Jiminy Crickets?
You know what? People say, if you're like, Christ. It's like, don't say that. And it's like, all right, well, I'll say, criminy. But like, you're saying criminy, but you're just saying that in place of the word Christ. It's
Right.
like, well, what the hell do you want me to say?
Right.
I got to say something. And what do you say? Gosh darn it?
Gosh darn it.
Like an old prospector?
Gosh darn it. I thought this was a horrible, horrible show. I'm still waiting for one that I enjoy.
Yeah, but Clone Masters?
Clone Masters was good.
Let's rate this bitch and be done with it.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
Everything on this show is based around airplanes. That's our theme. So is the rating system based on the television show Wings. Their characters. They had 7 main characters through the course of the series. You got the bare bottom there, the lowest rung, Roy Biggins, piece of junk, up to a number 7. The best you can get is a Brian Hackett.
We've yet to get a Brian.
No, I mean, we've only a couple episodes in, and that's going to be a reach if you ask me. You watch the show in its entirety. I will give this a rating as well, but you can give it. You're the only one in this room between the two of us who can give it a true rating. What do you give this show?
Big old Biggins.
The big old Biggins.
Blake's big old Biggins.
Now, you know what? I'm going to completely agree with you. I cannot see how this would last as a show. I am not interested at all. Even if it was available, like say the guy's like, "Oh, reinstated his account on YouTube. Here's the tribe again for all to see." I'd be like,
Nope.
Not for me.
We're beyond that. Victor French, character actor, had a very good career. Obviously, hung out with Michael Landon quite a bit.
buddies.
His IMDb is quite thick, but I just pulled out Little House on the Prairie and Highway to Heaven. He was a good guy. To be in those shows, you got to be a good guy.
Got to be a good
You're
guy.
not like a child molester. Or
You don't
anything.
hang out with Michael Landon and not be a good guy.
No, the only thing about this that I didn't mention was the narrator.
Oh, there's a narration.
Yeah,
to the
there's
whole thing.
narration quite a bit, and I think it was the guy from the Twilight Zone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So mad props to him, and that's about it. That's all I got.
Oh boy, I'm so happy to have purged this from my system. Every time I see an hour and a half episode, I'm really trying to find the half-hour shows.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in my pocket.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the tribe in my pocket because there's going to be a day where you are going to have to suffer through one of these, and I'll go, oops.
Yeah. Well, at least it was true. I didn't make it up. All right. Well, next time on Couch Pilots, best described, oddly enough, as Little House on the Prairie meets Lost in Space by way of a Lucasfilm lawyer's fever dream. Join us next time when we watch the pilot episode of Starstruck from 1979. Here is a little something to wet your whistle. Or not. I did that again. How did I do that? I pressed down on there? There it is. Boom. Wet your whistle, folks.
Crossing stormy oceans, new worlds up ahead, they were there. When a home was just a cabin, made with loving hands, they were there. Room to go, room to grow, knowing the dream can't be too far. Moving on, it won't be long till the McAllister clan riding a shooting star. True pioneers on new frontiers, knowing the dream can't be too far. Adventure lies beyond the skies. The McAllister clan is riding a shooting star.
You know, folks, as the executive producer of Couch Pilots, I've got to say that a man can only do so much with what he has. And at the beginning of this, we're going to put a link up to the episode. It's only 30 minutes. I'm really excited about only being 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But just to know, the first 3 or 4 minutes is total mess. And it even says on the screen, hey, this is a total mess. Just stick with me. And unfortunately, what we needed, audio-wise, was what was a total mess.
Yeah, just the very beginning there was what we clipped from the show, and the mess, the audio and the visual was a little jacked up in the beginning, and we'll get into that next time. But if you want to check it out, in the meantime, go to YouTube. This one has not been pulled so far. Type in Starstruck space 1979. The whole episode will come up. It's actually less than I think it's like 26 minutes, maybe even a little less than that. And we'll tell you whether we approve of this one or not next time. Our contact info, couchpilotspodcast@gmail.com. Why would anyone need that?
Send us, if you know of a pilot episode or even a TV, we're doing the 70s right now. We're in season 1. We're focused on, if you have something from the 80s, give it to us and we can put it in the bank.
Sure.
But or if you're enjoying this, send us an email. We want to have a fan feedback part of the show too.
Give us your feedback. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us what you like about the show.
On iTunes,
subscribe, rate us. All that stuff helps. Give us a rating. Give us suggestions. Go to fcfnetwork.com. That is our home. That's where you can find us. Or like we said, subscribe in iTunes. We appreciate it so much. I don't have anything else, I don't think, at this time. Do you, Blake?
I just want to say, spay and neuter your pets.
Yes.
Teach someone in your family how to make fire.
Right.
And your oldest child, make them a scout.
All that and more next time on Couch Pilots. Goodbye, everybody.
Good night, folks.
Uh-oh.
You're fired.
On behalf of Couch Pilots and the entire crew, we'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a nice day.
This has been a Fakakta Comedy Funhouse production, produced by Jason Tosher, executive produced by Blake Clayton. For more information and content, go to fcfnetwork.com.